shaking my booty.
Welcome to About Time, a Doctor Who podcast. I'm Stephen, and I've been a Doctor Who fan since 2005.
And I'm Ben, and I've never seen the show before.
For years now, I've been trying to convince Ben to give it a go.
And my answer has always been no.
But now, finally, he's agreed not only to watch it with me, but to do a podcast about it as well. And quite frankly, it's about time. Okay, we're here again.
We are here again.
You don't sound very happy to be here.
No, I'm all right. I've just had I've started a new job, so
Yeah,
I'm a bit tired.
it's been a bit of a week, hasn't it?
It has, yeah.
But we still made time for Doctor Who.
Yeah, we did.
And this week, it was Series 1, Episode 4, Aliens of London.
If you can hear my eyes roll, I'm so sorry.
Literally, I think Ben said it at the end of last week's podcast, and then I reminded him again in the car today what the episode was called. And what did you say?
I was like, ugh, can we not go to an alien planet?
Yeah.
Like, that's what want to live for now. Like, I need to go, oh.
What's that?
It was me being so frustrated with the show. This show has so much potential,
I know.
yet it falls short on every hurdle sometimes.
Okay. It's a fair criticism. I will say that, again, something I remember from the time, from going on the forums and things, is a lot of fans were disappointed that this first series is very Earth-centric, and even, quite England-centric. When, like you say, they could do so much, but I don't know.
Yeah, like for me, I really do feel like it could have been like Introduction to Rose, go forward, go backwards, and now this is the time where he should be flexing where this TARDIS can go. But no, let's go back. This is Russell T Davies. He comes from such a background where he writes such emotional core things that have an emotional core, where he did not flex the fantasy and sci-fi muscle here. People watch fantasy to escape. If I wanted to watch a romantic drama, I'd watch a rom-com.
Okay. Ben's on one of his rants
Yes,
today, I can tell.
I am. I really, really, really... I said to Stephen, when is this episode going to end? Because I really did not like the pacing of this episode.
Yeah.
This episode, it does not need to be 2 episodes.
Okay, yeah, let's just be clear, by the way, we've only watched part 1 so far. We're going to watch part 2 later and then do another episode on that. But yeah, once again, it's not like these criticisms that you're levelling at the show are something that I can always defend. Like, a lot of the time I agree to an extent. I definitely remember a lot of people making similar criticisms in the past. A lot of Doctor Who fans, who are particular sort of sci-fi fans of how the classic series was, they saw Russell T Davies as basically trying to turn it into EastEnders.
Yes.
And that's how you see it then, is it?
I see it as he was trying to inject this emotional core into Doctor Who.
Which is what makes me love it.
But I think it really, is so out of balance with the fantasy.
You think it's too weighted too heavily?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. This is Doctor Who. Doctor Who is about aliens, it's about time travel, and yet we've gone back to London. I hate this episode. This episode is awful, and I do not like it.
Okay. You think you're making that clear, yeah. Thing is, right, can I please just defend my absolute hero, Russell T Davies, a little bit?
Of course you can.
Because I can see what you're saying, and I do think this episode is an extreme example where it's very sort of EastEnders-y. Jackie Tyler and all those people around the flat made it feel like that, definitely. This is an extreme example, and it's not all like this. And I do think maybe from going on with Series 2 onwards, he tones that down a bit.
But this is very jarring.
But the whole thing about emotional core, I think, is vital. Like, it's why I love the show, because he writes characters that you care about. When his era comes to an end, move on to Stephen Moffat's era. I do like a lot of Stephen Moffat's era and that part of the show, but not as much. And I feel it's because I simply am not made to feel about the characters, to care about the characters like I do in Russell T Davies' era.
He is an amazing writer. He really knows how to put a character on page, like he knows he knows what he's doing. But what he didn't know when he went into Doctor Who, this is what I feel, this is my personal opinion, to any fans out there who love this episode or love this first season, he did not get the balance right. There needs to be a balance, and it's not been achieved in this episode.
Okay, valid viewpoint. I'm not going to say that it's not valid.
Okay.
Also, it's worth pointing out that this episode was filmed along with Rose. They were filmed as a block together. And that was the first block they did. So this episode, along with Rose, and the second part of this one, they're very early on in their production. And from what I've read, I don't know the ins and outs, but I think they were plagued by lots of difficulties and things taking longer and being harder to do than they were anticipating. But anyway, so is this whole podcast going to be, this whole podcast episode, I mean, is it going to be you tearing it to pieces?
You'll have to wait and see.
Okay, I think it probably is. So it's not my favourite. I like it, but it's one of the probably lower down ones for me in this season. But I'll go through some of the things I made notes on. The whole thing where he thought they'd been gone 12 hours, but it was actually 12 months.
He makes so much fucking mistakes. If he tried to go get a medical degree, he could not get one.
The doctor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I just cut your artery.
Yeah. He's not that kind of doctor.
What doctor is he?
Well,
PhD?
it's more of an honorary title.
Ugh. Okay.
But yeah, so you found it annoying that he made another mistake?
Yeah.
Okay, that's just part of Doctor Who, that's what happens. And I think, to be
Was
honest...
that in the original series?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my god,
I think it's a genius idea because, I don't know, it's like the impact of just removing someone from their daily life. Like, and they didn't obviously consider that because they thought, well, we can get back in no time at all. But this actually shows, like, I mean, what if the Doctor went travelling with Rose and one day she died on one of their adventures and Jackie would never know any different?
Be sad.
Yeah, but that's kind of what he was going through for a year.
Yeah.
But, you know, the Doctor's fallible. I think that's important to remember, that the Doctor is not some, like, perfect being. Like, he is very vulnerable to making mistakes.
Okay.
I think that's important. Did you see the graffiti that someone did on the TARDIS?
Bad Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
The second time a wolf has been mentioned.
Okay. Second time you've heard a wolf being mentioned.
Yeah, because, like, is the Bad Wolf the Master? You can't answer that.
I can't answer that, no, but it's an interesting theory. But yeah, I just thought I'd drop the Bad Wolf seed again. So, one thing you said when the spaceship crashed into Big Ben.
Oh my god!
So I think you laughed first at the CGI of the spaceship.
Yeah.
And then when it crashed through, Ben goes, well, that doesn't look like cardboard at all, does it?
It looked awful.
Yeah, but it was done with a practical... Like, that's one of the things, remember Doctor Who Confidential I told you about? I remember them showing how they did that and how they built a mini model of Big Ben and, like, filmed it smashing. And then they made a mistake because they filmed it and then the CGI was done and the spaceship was coming from the different direction to what they thought. So they had to flip the footage of Big Ben being smashed. So if you look at it, the numbers are the wrong way around.
Oh.
But I mean, no one would notice that. It's like 2 seconds.
It was awful.
Oh, do you think so?
I really didn't.
That was my childhood, Ben. That was my childhood of, you know, watching Big Ben being smashed by a spaceship. That's an iconic memory.
Oh.
And you didn't like the CGI.
No. I don't like any of the CGI in this episode.
You didn't like the Slitheen.
Oh
the
my
glimpse that we saw
god.
at the end.
I laughed my head off.
Yes.
They looked like bogies coming out of human skin.
Okay.
Like, they looked like bogies.
No, it does look pretty bad, doesn't it? But
We are the Slitheen.
we are the yeah. You know. So there's the CGI when they're unzipping and peeling off the skin, and then you see them sort of stand upright, and it's clearly a costume, a suit, and the difference between the CGI and the costume is very marked. Like, you can see that because the CGI is all undulating and like slippery, and then it's this big lumbering sort of rubber costume.
I'm like, how the fuck did you get in there? without busting the suit.
Well, that gets explained in the second part. There's an even greater mismatch. You'll see that in part 2. Like, one shot to the next, they look like slick, like CGI weird things, and then the next shot they're like lumbering rubber costumes. And that's famous for this two-parter, that the CGI is not great.
Yeah, it's absolutely awful.
Yeah, but it is what it is. What are your impressions of the Slitheen apart from the CGI? I mean, you don't know much about them as yet.
They look like babies.
Oh, the big eyes. Yeah, I can see that.
They look like baby bugs.
Yeah.
Like larvae.
They're quite cute, actually. If they
When
were.
they have voices like, we are the Slitheen.
Yeah. We are the Slitheen. What else have I got on my list? So the TV reports, all the news stuff, that becomes quite a running theme in Russell T Davies' era.
Yeah.
When you get modern day stuff happening.
Yeah. A bit too much of it.
Maybe a bit too much, yeah. But it's a
Like,
nice way to just sort of
felt
see
like
what's...
half the episode when the man was talking.
Because, Rose obviously was a contemporary story, but that was very much from Rose's perspective. It's a very narrow view, whereas this one, I feel like it opens it up and you see, because of the news reports, you get to see a nationwide and a global response to what's happening. It's a good way to show that kind of easily.
Yeah, I can understand that. Didn't hate that, didn't like that much. I was just meh about it.
Right.
Not meh, indifferent, that's the word.
Okay. The lady, the doctor lady, the one who was looking at the pig.
Yes.
You said, when she came on screen, you said to me that you feel like you recognise her from somewhere.
Yeah. I feel like she's been in something that I've watched.
Okay, any ideas what?
No. Do you know who she is?
Well, I mean, it's very interesting that you should say that, because she goes on to be one of the lead cast members in Torchwood. But you haven't watched Torchwood, so it wouldn't be
it's
that.
like her voice sounds very familiar.
Okay. So her name is Naoko Mori. And again, on this, Russell T Davies, I think, quite often does this, where he, on the strength of someone's performance in one episode, he'll be like, oh, we must use them in something. Yeah. So she goes on to be in Torchwood. Actually has the same character, Toshiko. But anyway, that's a little
So she moves
tidbit.
to Cardiff.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, it gets kind of explained later on in Torchwood, much later on, that she was already working for Torchwood in Cardiff, but she got sent to London to investigate the pig thing. So you've been quite negative so far. Is there anything in this episode that you did like?
No.
What, nothing?
Not really.
Not even Penelope Wilton?
She was alright. She's a seasoned actress.
Yeah.
And I quite like her in other things.
So she plays Harriet Jones, MP for Flydale North.
Which is a made-up place.
It is a made-up place, yeah.
She's an alien as well.
No, it's not a made-up place in the show. It's a made-up place for the show.
She's an alien.
But she's lovely. She's Harriet Jones. And I think that part was written for her, because obviously Russell's worked with her before in Bob and Rose. One line that I really relate to is when he goes out the flat and Rose says, where do you think you're going? And he says, nowhere, it's just a bit human in there for me. I feel that as like an introvert and someone with social anxiety. It's like, sometimes there's just too many people and you just need to get out.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
That's how I feel about the Tube.
Yeah. By the way, actually, this just reminded me, on last week's episode, I did make a comment, a kind of throwaway comment about autism. I said about getting hyper-focused on projects is one thing that makes me think I might be a bit autistic.
Yeah.
But I don't want people to listen to it and think I'm just, like people say, people just throw away and say, oh, I'm so OCD because I have to have things tidy. And they're not really OCD, but they just say that. They don't understand the true depth of OCD.
Yeah.
And I am someone who, I've got very close friends who are autistic. I work with autistic children. I have training in autism. And I have reason to believe that I could well be autistic myself, even though I don't have a diagnosis. Now, I'm not saying that I am, but the comment I was just trying to make was that it was something that made me think that I could be autistic. So yeah, we were talking about Harriet Jones.
Yeah.
I love Harriet Jones.
Does she make a reappearance?
Well, obviously in the second part.
Oh, yeah.
And then, it would spoil things for me to say whether she came back again, wouldn't it?
She's an alien.
Okay.
I like the idea that there's aliens that are peaceful aliens
Oh, yeah.
that live on Earth.
A bit like certain demons in Buffy that are just peacefully living there, yeah.
and like the Doctor knows about them, and like when he sees Harriet, he said, "Oh, you got a different shell."
So you think she's an alien?
No,
You're just playing with the idea.
I just think there's so many opportunities to produce. I'd love to see what people are going to be like. This is an awful thing to say. I'd love to see what an American production company would do with Doctor Who.
Oh well, funny you should say that because I'm toying with the idea of once we're done with series 1, in between seasons, to watch the Paul McGann 1996 movie with you. TV movie. It was made for TV, but that was a co-production between the BBC and Fox, I think.
Oh.
So that has a lot of American input. I mean, it's set in America, and it is American. I'd like you to see that because I'd like you to see what kind of a different iteration of Doctor Who could have been.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, getting back to Aliens of London, the farting jokes, the Slitheen farting.
Yeah.
When you first saw the man Joseph Green farting when he was going up the stairs, you said something about there's no need for that.
Yeah.
Which I agree with.
There's a time and a place.
Yeah, it's funny though because I don't like that sort of humour, but you typically do like toilet humour.
Yeah.
So I thought you'd quite like that, but apparently not.
No.
Okay. I will also say that I think the Slitheen, particularly with the farting and stuff, they're quite a juvenile villain. And they do actually make a couple of appearances later on in Sarah Jane Adventures. So I think they kind of found their place more in the Sarah Jane Adventures for a child audience.
Oh, okay.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
What did you think of, Joseph Green and Margaret Blaine, those politicians who were actually Slitheen?
God. The woman.
Margaret Blaine, yes.
She was alright.
Yeah, that actress is Annette Badland. She's the best of them, I think. I think she's been in EastEnders as well.
Oh, okay.
And I always think if Imelda Staunton hadn't been available or interested, she would have been a really good Umbridge.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100% actually, I could see that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you know when she came in at the end of the episode to the cabinet room and she was like, "Oh, has someone been naughty?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can totally see it. If there's a TV show, hire her up.
Well, let's hope it's not in J.K. Rowling's lifetime because we don't want her to benefit from it. And weirdly, Joseph Green, the main acting Prime Minister guy, I always think he looks slightly like Jeremy Clarkson. Can you see it or not?
Not really.
No, I don't know what it is. I just think, I don't know.
I think he got an evil looking face.
He does.
He had the great grimace.
Yes.
The way he's half smiling, I love the pain that you're.
Yes, but it's all very camp and they play it, particularly him. He plays it like an alien who is not used to being human, having to sort of masquerade as a human and not quite sure how the body works and stuff, which I think is quite funny. But the cliffhanger at the end there, where they've unzipped and it's all in 3 different places it's happening. Yeah. And then in the room where all the alien experts are, you've got the General Asquith unzipping, and then next to him, Joseph Green sitting there, and for about 5 minutes solid, he's going,
You know why that is, isn't it? You know what that is?
Why?
They only have one costume.
Oh no, that's not true. You'll see them together in part 2.
Oh, then why did he not unzip as well?
Probably because he then had the line about "thank you for wearing your ID tags" and doing the thumb thing to make
thumb.
Yeah, so that when you've got a human actor who can do something, it's always going to be much more effective than having a rubber suit person do it. You know.
Okay.
That's probably why. Yeah. But no, the comment about the laughing was that you were doing the same thing because you were laughing at the CGI, and I couldn't tell what was you and what was Joseph Green laughing.
Oh my god! Literally, they just looked so awful. It really looked like some slime.
Okay.
It had the only features you could really tell were the eyes.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what is this? Is this going to be some slimy creature that... Oh my god, did they turn into slime? Is that how they can go into the body? Is that they squish themselves, they turn into slime and they squish themselves into bodies?
I don't know about slime, but it is about squishing themselves in. I have 2 questions then following on from that.
Mm-hmm.
So the CGI you've made quite clear you thought was crap.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, Do you have thoughts on the actual visual design of the Slitheen as creatures?
I think I'm going to say this. I think I'm going to hold. Can you hold that question until I see the next
part
episode,
two,
so I
yeah.
can see some more of them?
Fair enough, yeah, because you have only seen a few seconds. Really,
Yeah. If you can hold that question until the next episode, I will then answer that question.
Okay.
So remember that question.
I will. And you may want to say the same for this question as well, then. But I was just going to say, what do you think of the concept of aliens zipping themselves inside human skin and masquerading as humans? I mean, it's been done, I'm sure,
Yes.
many times.
It's fine. It's a cool concept. Like you disguising yourself
Yeah,
and all that.
especially in this where they're politicians.
But
leading
do you
the
know?
country.
Yeah. Do you know what I really hated?
What?
The zip.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The zip. The three in the cabinet office had no zip.
No visible zip.
No visible
Yeah.
zip. You get to the police officer. Oh look! Take your hat off.
There's
There's
a visible
fucking
zip. I know. I always notice
And it
that.
looks like it's like obviously on his head, and you can see the tape, and it's like, can you not just do what they did last time? Just like this like
yeah.
this like thing.
No,
I
you
thought they were using their nail to cut it open.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. No, I think that the ones in the cabinet room, before they start doing it, you can't see anything. But once they're actually unzipping, if you look closely, you can see they're holding onto a zip pull. But the one in the policeman, you can see the zip sticking out of his head before he starts.
Yeah, and how do they sew a zip on?
I don't know.
They're gigantic things. They've got hands with no posable thumbs. How do they sew a zip on?
Okay, you have to ask the sort of technical sewing related questions, don't you?
Anywho, the question, the answer is they probably have some magic.
Some technology, yeah.
Magic.
Yeah.
We are the Slitheen. I just love that bit.
Okay.
I loved one bit. Just that little weird little voice coming out of that massive creature.
We are the Slitheen. Oh, that's the other thing. Like, that I think they had a bit of a hard time controlling and like matching up the mouth moving to the voice. So it's all a little bit ropey in this two-parter. And then you have their eyes like blinking, and it sounds like a camera shutter going.
I didn't hear that.
Did you? Oh yeah, you don't hear things.
I've got bad ears.
Yeah. I like the Slitheen. I like them being particularly, like I was saying about politicians, the fact that it's kind of it's a little bit of satire. Think about it, and it still applies now. Like the Tories in government, they might as well be evil aliens from outer space, zipped up in skin suits, because for the amount they care about real people. Do you know what I mean? Something else I noted down, your reaction to the TARDIS key when the Doctor handed it over to Rose.
It's the most human key possible. It is the most human key possible.
You said it looked like it came from a
Yale lock.
Yeah. Classic series. The TARDIS key did not look like that at all. It did look very alien and weird. And then this was a change they made for the new series. They turned it into essentially a Yale key, which again, I'm sure lots of fans were like, ugh, what are you doing? That's disgusting. But my view is the TARDIS is designed to blend in. It's designed to mimic a police box. And a real police box would have a real Yale lock. So a real Yale type key would unlock it. It may not actually be as simple as that, but at least it looks like that. You don't like it, but you just have to lump it, I'm afraid, because that's how it is. What's so funny?
Just you. Just got to lump it.
Well, you do. So two of your very favourite characters ever made a reappearance in this episode.
Oh my fucking god.
Jackie.
Ugh. When she was ringing up the aliens, I said, don't you dare. Like when she was
ringing up the aliens, ringing up about the hotline, yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, please don't, because like you're making the story goes on longer than it needs to go on.
And you said, oh, I knew there was a reason I hated you when you did that. But the thing is, do you not think your mum would do the same if it happened?
No, my mum would listen. I would explain the situation. My mum would listen, not just be this frantic woman who just goes, ah! No, I'd listen to my child, and like she would listen to her child.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, she listens to this, so sorry.
She would.
I'm just saying it's so mind blowing to you've just sat down and watched TV news reports about aliens crash landing, and that's blown your mind. And then you go out and you see your daughter, who's been missing for a year, is friendly with this man who has a box that's bigger on the inside.
She's been missing for a year, but she's still alive, so he must be not that bad.
I think she's just confused. There's a lot going on for her. So Jackie is not growing on you at all yet.
No.
How about Mickey?
Do not talk about him.
Okay.
Don't like it.
You don't like Mickey?
No.
No,
I think he's a terrible actor.
No, okay. So Mickey is. I don't like Mickey in this series, but I will also say that we had this conversation in the first episode, and then I cut it out because I wasn't really happy with. I don't feel like we addressed things well enough. But I did explain to Ben that Noel Clarke, who plays Mickey, is a piece of shit, essentially. I can't remember when it was, a year ago, maybe, something like that. About 20 women, allegations came forward from them about basically sexual misconduct and abuse. And he's a filmmaker. He writes and directs his own stuff, and he apparently forced women auditioning for him to do nude auditions, which he filmed and then sent to like producers and stuff, which is totally like that is not a thing.
Barbaric.
Yeah. So he's an awful person, but we get that out of the way. We don't condone him as a person, but when we talk about Mickey, we're talking about Mickey the character.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But that said, you can't bear Mickey the character either.
No. I don't know, there's something about him, like, he just comes across a bit like a snivelling weasel.
He's really nasty to Rose.
Yeah. He gaslights her, and he like, guilt trips her.
Yeah.
Into being like, did you miss me?
Yeah. And then when she thought the doctor had disappeared, he was gloating, like, oh, some boyfriend he turned out to be. How does it feel, Rose? Like that. He's a prick. Yeah. So it's, the fact that the doctor, like, picks on him a bit and gets his name wrong, calls him Ricky all the time. I mean, that's quite a mean thing to do, but I feel like you let him get away with it because you feel like, kind of like Mickey deserves it. So we get our first mention of UNIT, which stands for United Nations Intelligence Task Force, or going forward in modern Doctor Who, they had to change the name to, it's still UNIT, but it now stands for Unified Intelligence Task Force, because they broadcast this episode and the real United Nations complained and said, you can't use our name. But basically, back in the classic series, UNIT was a thing. In fact, the third Doctor spent a large amount of time stranded on Earth, and he was working with UNIT for several seasons. So that's, have you ever heard of the Brigadier? He was a companion of the Doctor's, and he worked for UNIT. And so this was kind of a reference back to that. It's basically, they're run by the United Nations, and they deal with, when there are alien threats and things, they kind of keep it secret from the rest of the world and deal with it in their own way. And the Doctor's worked with them. Okay, so, I mean, we've worked our way through all my notes. We have yet to watch part 2. I'm curious as to whether you think it will improve the story overall for you. Because I have to say, this Aliens of London is basically all set up. It's like 45 minutes of setup. It
really does feel like it just could have been one episode.
Maybe it could. So, this won't take long, but just list for me the things you did like in this episode.
Christopher Eccleston.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
And the lady from Fly Dove.
Flydale North. Harriet Jones.
Yeah.
Played by the gorgeous Penelope Wilton.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's brilliant. You didn't like anything else?
Not really, no.
Okay. This could be a tricky question. What's your favourite thing about the episode?
That it finished.
I knew you were going to say that. I was literally waiting for you to say when it ended.
It felt too long, and it felt like the story was being stretched.
Okay. Are you able to, do you want to rate this episode out of 5, or do you want to wait for the end of the story and do the whole story?
Okay, I'm going to do part 1, and then in the next episode I'll do part 2 as its own thing, and then I'll do an overall rating as well.
Okay.
So that makes sense. Part 1's going to have a rating.
Okay.
Which is 0.5.
0.5? Wow, you really didn't like it.
I really didn't like it. 0.5, maybe I could push to 0.75.
We'll call it, let's not get too far into decimals, you'll be saying...
Okay, 1.
Okay, no, you can do 0.5s, but I would avoid doing any sort of, we'll be giving episodes 2.007369.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
0.5 I think is fair for me
Okay.
because I was bored already within 10 minutes of the show being on.
Okay.
Do not like this idea that they're playing with a relationship, and I do not like that.
Oh, the will they, won't they?
Yeah. Anywho.
But funny you should mention that because, Mickey said about some boyfriend he turned out to be. And Rose said, he's not my boyfriend, Mickey. He's better than that. He's more important. What do you think she meant by that?
Best friend.
Yeah, best friend.
Person that sees the real her for the first time.
And also, remember her dad's dead. Like, he's kind of a father figure, maybe, that she's never had.
Yeah, so she's 18.
19.
And he's 900, so yeah, he could be a father.
He could be a great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, one thing we didn't talk about. You know when Jackie slapped him?
Yeah.
And then in the next scene, they're up on the roof, and he's complaining about the pain.
Yeah.
And Rose says, "Oh, you're so gay."
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
No.
Oh yeah, she says to him, "You're so gay,"
Oh.
which is a bit.
I
iffy,
totally see
isn't
the
it?
Doctor being bisexual. Like, he's very much like, he does not care. He just falls in love with who he wants to fall in love with.
Yeah, no, that's not the point I'm making though.
Oh.
I mean,
You wouldn't hear that today.
you would not hear that on TV today.
You would hope
No.
not anyway.
In fact, it got complained about at the time. But Russell T Davies said he wanted to reflect the way people really talk, and at the time they did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they still do now. To be honest, I thought it was dying away, but I do still hear it.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, yeah, you can reflect how people talk, but also you should try and pave the way by leading by example.
Yeah.
So, it just perpetuates it, doesn't it, if you just keep doing it. But yeah, anyway. Okay. Oh, I haven't rated this episode yet, so what will I give it? What have I done? So far, I've given them around a 2 for each episode.
Think so.
Yeah. It's really... I don't know why I said we should rate them, because I hate giving ratings to things.
I love giving ratings.
But
I'm very good at favourites.
Yeah, because I can never decide. I'm always like, oh. Do I think Aliens of London on its own is worse than the previous 3 episodes? Yes, it is. It is. So I'm going to go for a 1, I think.
Okay.
So you give it a 0.5, I give it a 1.
Yeah. I reserve the right to change that score after I see the whole episode, the next half of the
But this is
story.
why I think it was good that we did a recording after just watching part 1, because you get to actually really, I could never, it's been nearly 2 decades since I saw this for the first time. I'm never in that position again where I can focus purely on part 1 without knowing what comes in part 2.
Yeah.
And so you get that now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's cool. But yeah, how are you feeling about watching the next one?
Meh.
Yeah, I thought so. Well, we shall see. You may like it a little bit more.
I doubt it.
Okay. Let's hope this podcast continues.
I thought it was getting better. I quite liked the last episode.
With Unquiet Dead. Yeah,
I quite liked that one. I thought that was
That's the thing.
quite nice.
That's
and
the
then
thing.
this one feels like, oh.
Back to square one.
Yeah.
Or even worse.
And it feels like the reason why it was so earthbound is because they couldn't afford to build sets.
Yeah, to be honest, that's probably a big part of it.
And I was just like, no.
You got to remember, I've said this to you before, they had no money in that first series because the BBC, it was a gamble for them. And I've also said this to you a million times before, but Doctor Who is so variable. It covers so many genres. It does so many different things. If you hate it one week, you may well love it the next week, and vice versa.
It's like Marmite. You either hate it or you love it.
Yeah. Doctor Who
And
is
I don't
Marmite.
like it.
Sorry?
I don't like Marmite and I don't like Doctor Who.
Okay, I love Marmite and I love Doctor Who, so there you go.
I did like the last episode though.
The Unquiet Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought about it more after we spoke.
Yeah.
And I thought, it's my favourite so far.
Yeah. Oh, you really. That is hilarious because when I asked you your first impression of it, you said my least favourite so far, and now you've come around and you've said it's your favourite so far.
Yeah, and I was like, comparing it to this one,
Yeah.
it's miles better.
Yeah. It is. It is. Okay. Interesting. I'm so excited for all the episodes coming up in this series because there are ones coming up, like the one after this 2-parter, I'm really hoping you're going to like. So let's wait and see on that. But anyway, we'll wrap up there for this part. My plan is to release. So this will come out on a Wednesday, and then our episode for part 2 will come out that Saturday, so a few days later. So you'll get two episodes from us in 1 week. So you get to hear our lovely voices twice in 1 week. Lucky you.
Or unlucky you.
Yeah. Should we wrap up?
Yes.
What are you going to do now?
I'm going to go and buy some Christmas deckies because we've just brought a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to put it up. And I said to Stephen, I better be able to put it up today.
Yeah.
And I said, I need this podcast to be done by like 4:15 so I can go to town. And
It's currently 4:05, so we've met that.
yeah, so I can go to town and buy some deckies, put a Christmas tree up.
Do you want to hear a joke about Christmas trees?
Yes.
So a man goes to the shop and buys a big Christmas tree, and the man behind the counter says, "Oh, that's nice. That's a nice one. Are you going to put it up yourself?" And he says, "No, don't be disgusting. I'm going to put it up in the living room." Are you going to put it up yourself?
Oh. I'm not very good with jokes.
Maybe it's me the way I tell it. Anyway, never mind. Maybe someone at home found that funny.
I've got a joke for you.
Okay,
Knock knock.
who's there?
The interrupting doctor.
The interrupting Doctor Who. What's that supposed to be?
It's not like screw
Oh.
job.
I mean, the classic Doctor Who knock knock joke is knock knock.
Who's there?
Doctor.
Doctor Who.
Yeah, you just said it.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, shall we say our French goodbye?
Yeah. Au revoir,
Au revoir.
people of the interwebios.
See you soon for World War III. That's what the episode's called. I'm not just predicting a political event.
Touch wood.
Okay, touch wood. Bye-bye.
Bye.